Hello and welcome to Tea Time with Ghost, a show where I drink tea and talk about my opinions even though nobody acts for them. I'm your host Ghost, and today I will be doing a recap and review of Season 6, Episode 3 of Miraculous Ladybug. Let's get into it. It starts with Adrian going on a run with the new girl Sublime, as she's training for a race coming up, and Marinette is spying on her and going back to her weird stalker ways. Oh my god. Marinette is very determined to become Sublime's friend, but just doesn't know how, and is going slightly crazy and thinks Sublime is better than her. So she decides to go out of her way to try everything she can to be as good as Sublime and make a good first impression. Tiki is really trying to convince Marinette to stop acting like a weirdo, but it's not really working, and of course, everything Marinette is trying is failing. Sublime forgets her chopsticks and Marinette runs to go get some, only to come back and Sublime has gotten her own that she just happens to always carry with her. A string on Sublime's heart breaks and Marinette tries to get a replacement, and Sublime already fixed it herself before Marinette could even get back. A little while later, Sublime is talking to Adrian and she notices Marinette staring at them. She points it out and Adrian just reassured Sublime that Marinette just really wants to become her friend. Marinette realizes that she's been spotted and jumps to the conclusion that Sublime just hates her and wants to leave the school now, and Tiki is like, "Girl, what are you talking about? Are you sure you're making sense?" And Marinette, being as stubborn as ever, is just like, "Yes, I've messed up," and now she's even more determined to make it right. And how does she make it right, you ask? She chases down her car to go talk to her. What the heck? Anyway, Sublime reaches her destination and struggles with carrying her bag, and her father helps her by picking it up for her, only for them to both be scolded by her mother, who thinks Sublime needs to learn to do things on her own without help. Meanwhile, Marinette is right outside Sublime's room, hoping Sublime has some sort of issue that she can help her with, and their friendship can begin. Marinette tries to go inside Sublime's room, thinking she needs help, and Tiki is like, "What are you doing? You don't even know why you're here, or why Sublime is here." And in that moment, Marinette decides Ollie was right, and she just talks to Sublime and asks to be friends. And despite Tiki's warnings to just leave Sublime alone, she rushes into the room anyway, only to find it empty. I normally don't put my opinions into the recap of my videos, but Jesus Christ, this girl needs to relax. Anyway, continuing, it cuts to Sublime's parents trying to get Bob to sponsor their daughter, but Bob laughs in their face, saying Sublime isn't worth any money, and tries to leave. Before he can though, Sublime's mother quickly rushes over and tries to convince Bob, saying if Sublime wins, she'll win a real gold medal. Bob says if he sponsors her and she wins, he gets to keep the medal as a form of early payment. Sublime's father does not like the idea of this, but the mother just ignores his concerns and agrees to the deal. But Bob says he won't agree to anything before seeing what Sublime is made out of first. It then cuts to Marinette, who's looking around for Sublime. She rushes into the bathroom to find her, then instantly hides when she sees her. Sublime seems to be having some sort of panic attack and manages to calm herself down, and then gives herself a pep talk before leaving. But Marinette manages to misunderstand this pep talk for Sublime yelling at her, and now she's convinced that Sublime is in love with Adrian and is here to take Marinette down. Sublime leaves, but quickly comes back as she forgot something, and Marinette is there acting akumatized because now she wants to avoid Sublime. Sublime obviously doesn't fall for that and tells Marinette that she's really busy and doesn't have time to talk to her right now, but will later. When she leaves, Marinette panics and transforms into Ladybug to convince Sublime that Marinette was really akumatized. Even though Tiki has been trying this whole time to calm her down and tell her this is not a good idea, she does this anyway. God, this is really killing me, and I'm only halfway done with the episode and I'm already wanting to die. What is this? Anyway, Sublime goes to practice in front of her parents and Bob, and her hands are shaking. She's clearly very nervous. Also, something important, someone was in the crowd watching all of this happen. Keep that in mind. That's very important. Keep it in mind. Don't forget it. Her father tries to calm her down and say it's okay to give up, before her mother walks up and calls her dad a loser and says she cannot give up. She ends up running the practice race, extremely fast too, before getting surprised at Ladybug, who appeared looking for Soapinator, aka the name of Marinette when she was quote-unquote akumatized. She tripped and fell and broke her prosthetic legs. Her dad rushed to make sure she's okay, while her mom tried to reassure Bob. Sublime tells Ladybug that everything's okay and that Marinette was pretending to be akumatized to get closer to her and be her friend, which is when Ladybug realizes how horrible she's been acting, and now she's the reason Sublime just broke her legs. During this, Bob ends up leaving and saying he will not sponsor Sublime. Her mother was devastated and ends up getting akumatized for real, becoming Sublimation, giving her the power to make things better, affecting her ex-husband and going after Bob to affect him next. Ladybug calls Catmore for help as she's not doing well at all, and he arrives quickly, saving Bob by throwing him in the trash. Ladybug uses her lucky charm to try and figure out what to do, and she gets a mirror, and she does not know what to do with it. Ladybug gets an idea after a few words of motivation from Cat Noir and lets sublimation affect both herself and Cat Noir, but it doesn't change them at all because they're already the best versions of themselves. But then all of a sudden, these butterflies, which turn out to be anti-Akumas summoned by the new Hawkmoth, began shooting out of Sublimation's visor, which hits Cat Noir and took away his powers. While Sublimation was distracted, Ladybug destroyed her akumatized item and de-evilized it. But she doesn't use her magical ladybugs to fix everything yet because she still doesn't know what her lucky charm is for yet. She then opens the lucky charm, aka the mirror, and realizing she's been the villain all along. Ladybug quickly goes back to Sublime and apologizes before fixing everything with her magical ladybugs, including Sublime's legs. And remember that person that was watching that I mentioned earlier? Yeah. They got up and left. That's suspicious. Anyway, Sublime finishes her practice race and Bob comes back to sponsor her. He argues that Sublime has to find out a way to wear shoes with her prosthetic legs, or else have nothing to sell. Her father argues back, saying that would be impossible with her running legs, and Sublime just decides it's fine and she doesn't need Bob as a sponsor. She'll find someone else, and her mother agrees. Finally, Sublime goes back to her locker and finds Marinette there, who apologizes, admitting that she really wanted to be her friend, but she was afraid she wasn't good enough to talk to her. And Sublime accepts her apology, and they end up good friends, going out for ice cream together with Adrian. But then it goes to Sublime and her parents with Kagami's mother, who decide to sponsor her. And she has this really creepy smile at the end, and during the whole time she was here, tense music was playing, so you know she's just like planning something horrible. And that's the recap of Season 6, Episode 3 of Miraculous Ladybug. Now time for my thoughts. Jesus, this was a hard episode to get through. Remember what I said in the last video? But there are moments where she was down to earth, like when she admitted she was scared and didn't know what she was doing when it comes to their relationship. So she wasn't too over the top at least. Yeah, well let's just throw that out the window because what the heck? I really hope this marks the end of Marinette being a crazy stalker now that she realized her mistake and said sorry. Also, this is so reckless. Becoming Ladybug for such a reason. Marinette is so big on her secret identity and hiding it from the world, to the point it almost consumed her life, and here she is just showing up as Ladybug over a akumatized villain she made up. I feel like that's just weird. It's not very Ladybug of her, but I guess anxiety makes people do crazy things, so I don't know. It just made me cringe a bit. But it's a kid's show. I need to calm down. I need to remember that this is just a kid's show. As for Sublime, I'm very excited to learn more about her. She's definitely going to come up again after what happened in that outro, and how it showed that even people who seem to have it all and be just perfect also struggle with their own things, like anxiety. Also, we got a closer look at Rose. I've seen a lot of people hating on her design, but I think she's adorable, and I can't wait to see more of her. I don't have many thoughts on this episode outside of Jesus Christ, Marinette was so cringy and I'm really upset about it. I really hope that changes in the next episode. Also, who is that? That's not Lila. That hands belong to a whole man, I'm telling you. I don't know who that is. Some people say it could be Neil's brother from the future, but I didn't look too deep into theories because I didn't want it to impact my thoughts on this episode. Anyway, there's something I want to talk about that doesn't really have to do with this episode specifically. Recently, Thomas Astruck was asked about the episodes being out of order, and he said, not his exact words, but you can watch Season 6 in any order you want. If there's any important lore, it would be mentioned in the trailers and you can piece it together yourself. So yeah. I still have no idea why they do that. It's dumb, but anyway, I'd rate this episode a 5 out of 10. It's not the best, but it's not bad either. Overall, it's just a pretty mid episode. I probably wouldn't rewatch it, but would I go out my way to hate it and say it's the worst? No, it's just mid, it's fine. I'll probably forget about it in a few days. What did you think about this episode? Share your thoughts below. And remember to like and subscribe. It helps out my channel a lot. Stay determined and have a miraculous day. Go Step.